Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So a lot of you have asked me the question, hey, I thought you were going to move to Colorado. Why are you in Wyoming? And you guys are right. Yeah, I mentioned that in one of my previous videos that we were aiming at northern Colorado for our next spot as my job moved me out in this region anyway. But as we were looking at houses a few months ago, we were just, I don't know, we were just completely underwhelmed with the types of homes that were available and how much property you received and what the house was and how much it cost because it was wicked expensive, at least when we were looking a few months ago, right? Granted, things are starting to come down a little bit, right? But when we were looking, prices were still just extremely high, and for the houses that we were seeing anyway, it did not seem worth it whatsoever. And we had lived out here in this region before, so we already kind of had a good idea of what prices were at, really just a few years ago. But granted, I won't open that can of worms, but COVID, of course, that caused a level of inflation, blah 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 blah, and here we are with the inflated housing market, right? And we're kind of, I won't say the tail end of it. We don't know truly what's going to happen, but things are still high, and even just a few months ago, notably high, even compared to what they are now. So anyways, long story short, as we were looking, we started teetering up toward our search up toward Wyoming. And as some of you may remember, we used to live out here. We used to live here in Wyoming before for a few years, and we loved it. Granted, there's a few things to dislike about Wyoming, of course, to include it's very windy. If you've never been here, it's extremely windy, and there's about 39 trees in the entire state, with the exception of the northwest part of the state, right? So, and I think about 20 of them are right there. So, not a lot to look at for the most part. Granted, of course, if you dig deep, you can find some beautiful parts of Wyoming, especially as you teeter north and northwest, of course, toward like Yellowstone and whatnot, right? But long story short, as we're looking, we started noticing a couple newer developments being built up here. And as you can see, a lot more breathing, puppy dog feature. A lot more breathing room. You got 5-acre lots up here that are pretty common and pretty prevalent. And of course, the new build homes, which, trying to find a new build home that comfortably fits a family of 5, soon to be 6, on any type of property or land in northern Colorado, in Fort Collins, Windsor area, Loveland. When we were looking, it was just, it felt impossible to try to do that and remain under the budget that we wanted to be in. They were just wicked expensive. So when we started looking up here, we were pleasantly surprised at how much further our buck went. Again, as you'd imagine, with it being Wyoming, just saying it out loud, it makes sense. Of course, Wyoming's going to be a little bit more affordable. But I tell you what, now that we're back and just driving through the city here, it just feels good to be back, and it feels like home. It truly does. It's a small town feel. Everybody's nice. Everybody talks to you. You get greeted everywhere you go, and that's not the case, as you guys know. It's not the case everywhere. And having lived out in Maryland recently, that was kind of hit and miss depending on where you were. You get close to DC, it just felt like a rat race, and I don't know. That's not what I want my family to be a part of. So here we are. We're back out here to Wyoming, and I couldn't be happier. My family couldn't be happier. Mrs. Untamed is stoked to be here, even with back to matching TRD Pros. Kind of funny, but this wasn't planned necessarily this soon, for the record. Let me make that clear. But no, it feels good to be back. It's just a calm, peaceful state to be in, and the people are great, wonderful community, all the things that you would want truly to raise a family in, and that's what we found here, and we love it. So, would we have loved northern Colorado? Absolutely, especially being in the whole Toyota scene and a lot of trails, a lot of off-roading communities up there. Overlanding, right, is pretty prevalent down there. It would have been a great spot too, I'm sure, had we landed down there. But at the time we were looking financially, it just made much more sense to land up here. And a little bit of more behind the curtain talk here. So some of you are like, why the heck did you downsize from the Land Cruiser to these, right? So I downsized to the Tundra, back to the Tundra. A part of that, of course, is putting a larger deposit down payment on the house, but a big piece of it is like just immediately getting here, we knew we were going to put in a fence, and for the full back, however much that is, about 3 acres ish out back, those aren't cheap. Obviously they're still working on it and building it, but just doing that is a huge lump sum of money, which I'm not going to take a loan out to do that. So by me downsizing the Land Cruiser allowed us to get in here, get the house to where we wanted it. Of course, update some our furniture to match the house, all the buying blinds, all the new build purchases that you have to do. So if you've ever purchased a new house, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So just getting here, putting in that fence, so the pups can truly enjoy the property here, is the intent. So there you have it, guys. Still maybe not the best place for employment purposes, depending on what you do, of course, but for us it worked out perfectly, truly, when it comes to that. I won't make this video entirely about that. I will give you one very small update. So I ended up swapping out the chrome lug nuts for some more OEM black lug nuts. So a very small thing, of course, but I think in 2020 for the Army Green, or just for the 2020 TRD Pro in general, they did update that from the chrome to black. So of course it just looks a lot better, it being the TRD Pro. Yeah, so there you have it, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you've ever been through Wyoming. And let me know how that experience was for you. Let me know if you were blown away. So appreciate you watching as always. Until next time.